This is the Hanging with Abe podcast.
What's up, everybody? This is episode 43 of the Hanging with Abe podcast, coming to you always from Brockton, Massachusetts. I just want to take this time and I want to say thank you to everybody who watched episode 42. I appreciate all the love and support. Shout out to Felix Noel, an aspiring rap artist on his way. Thank you very much for being on the podcast. It was my highest viewing podcast so far at 34,000. I think we got 3,300 likes. So thank you for everybody for tapping in. You can follow the Hang With A podcast on Instagram, Facebook, Snapchat, TikTok. I'm all over the place. The Hang With A podcast is also monetized. So I want to say thank you very much to everybody out there that has subscribed, that follows, that likes, that shares my podcast. I really, really appreciate all the love and support. It doesn't get monetized without your support. So I want to say thank you very much for all of that as well. Before we even get into the episode, I want to say shout out to all the fathers out there. Happy Father's Day. Today is Juneteenth also, so I want to say happy Juneteenth Day as well. I don't want to ignore that because that is a big holiday. Like I told you guys before, like I've been promoting for the last few weeks, this episode is going to be about me, about my story, about my journey, and gives me an opportunity to speak my truth to you. I have my lovely wife-to-be to interview me. She was nice enough to agree on this. She was on episode 1 of season 2. I was doing the season thing. I'm not really doing it no more, but she was episode 1 of season 2 to talk about, how incredible she is. I interviewed her, so now she's going to interview me. So, ladies and gentlemen, I give to you the future Miss Roberts, but Morgan Thatcher.
Hi guys, how are you? I am so excited to be doing this. I feel like when Abe asked me if I wanted to do this, I was like, "Oh my goodness, I'm so nervous. I don't know what to say." But I feel like I'm pretty comfortable and I know him pretty well and he's pretty amazing and I want you all to kind of learn him similar to some of the things that I've learned about him because I think his story is amazing and really inspirational. Um, so I'll get into it. So give me a timeline of you growing up, like where it all started to where you are now, and kind of you can do the whens and the wheres, and just take me through that timeline.
So I was born March 3rd, 1984. I was born in Hawaii, Honolulu, Hawaii. I'm not sure of the island, don't kill me, but I'm from Hawaii. Um, and I spent about 8 years of my life in Hawaii. I moved from Hawaii when I was 8 years old. Um, to go kind of backwards a little bit, my mom had me when she was 16 years old. Um, you know what I mean? When I think about that, my mom has been a mother since she's been 16. And how she got to Hawaii is that my grandmother was a registered nurse. So she moved my mom, my uncles, and my aunt to Hawaii from Daytona Beach, Florida, because that's where my mom is from, my grandmother's from. Um, and she moved the family to Hawaii um, during that time. And like I said, my mom had me when she was 16 years old, which is phenomenal that she was a mom at 16. And she's been a mom since she's been 16 years old. Um, I then from there, had my siblings, Justin, Jasmine, Darnell. Darnell's the baby. But Jasmine and Justin lived in Hawaii also, you know what I mean, for that time period as well. So they're also from Hawaii. My mom ended up getting married to Jasmine's dad. From there, we moved to North Carolina, spent a little bit of time in North Carolina for a little bit. And then we moved to Maryland, which is a big, big part of my life and a big part of my story. I went to high school in Maryland. I went to middle school in Maryland. Some of my brotherhoods and some of my friendships I built when I was in Maryland. Shout out to David, Vernon, Bernard, Craig, Daryl, um, Brandon Liggins, Liggs, we call him Liggs, Ramel, AJ, rest in peace to Nick, Joseph, Matt. Um, these are pretty much all my friends that I grew up with that I spent a lot of my childhood with. Um, but not only friends but also a brotherhood I built with all of them. We are still somewhat close for the most part. We try to keep in touch with each other as much as possible. Also Brandon. Also shout out to Brandon as well. If I forgot you, it's nothing personal. You know what I'm saying? It's all love. But that is who I spent most of my childhood with when I was in Maryland. Craig being my best friend. We've been best friends for 23 years. Um, and I met Craig when I was in 8th grade. And from there we just built this very, very strong brotherhood and strong friendship. So and now here I am here in Boston now.
What brought you to Boston?
So I moved to Boston. I was married previously. Um, as you know, I moved to Boston to be with her at the time. And when I first moved to Boston, I was like, you know what, this is not for me. I didn't really like the people. It was a totally different atmosphere from Maryland, growing up in Florida. Southern hospitality. People are nice. People speak. Um, People came off very rude to me in Boston. But after, but, but after a while, like I got used to like how people act up here, how people operate up here, the love that they have for their city. I don't think I've lived in a place like Boston where they love all their sports teams and they're very passionate about their sports team. They're very passionate about the people that live here. This is a very, very family oriented state, um, Boston, Massachusetts. I mean, and yes, people can be assholes here, but also people can be loving and caring as well. And I moved up here to be with my then ex-wife at the time.
Awesome. Um, who are some influential people in your life, like family, friends, and tell me about like how they have shaped you,
Um,
you are now.
I mean, number one, would have to be my mom. Um, I just think my mom is probably one of the strongest people alive. To have kids, to have a child at 16 years old, um, and then to go on and continue. She had my brother and my sister and Darnell. When I sit down and I think about my life, um, it starts with her. You know what I mean? The things that she instilled in me and the things that she taught me. Um, when I really think about it, my mom's been a mom since she's been 16 years old. She's just now in her 50s getting her life back. Um, and that's crazy. You know what I mean? She went above and beyond for us. We didn't have everything that we needed, but we had enough. And she made sure of that. The second person I would have to say is my grandmother. Rest in peace to Patricia Ann Crosby. My foundation and who I am as a man comes from her. Um, you know what I mean? I don't think I'll be the man I am today without her. Um, she passed away. She left us December 10th, 2007. I think about her every day. Um, you know what I mean? But that's, she was like the love of my life. I spent a lot of time with my grandmother, and we had a very, very close relationship. Um, and then the third person, I would have to say, if I had to pick a third person, I would say, I would say, I don't know, that's tough. Third person ought to be tough. Um, yeah, I don't know. That's tough to me. But those would be my top two. Those are my top two.
All right. I mean, I think they're pretty good people to be your top two for sure. I know mom definitely will bend over backwards for her kids, and I appreciate that in a mom, as a mom. So I
Yeah.
think she's pretty amazing, and I am very sad to know that I never got to meet your grandma because, to be honest, I think I'd be her favorite. So I know you are the oldest sibling. You have Justin, Jasmine, and Darnell below you. Um, what is that like for you? I'm an oldest sibling. I know that it has shaped a lot of the ways that I move in my life. So I'm wondering, like, what was that like for you? Like, how do you think that has shaped you? What have you learned from being the oldest sibling, and what kind of was difficult or hard about it?
Um, I think, and I say this all the time, like in raising my own kids, I mean, we have three beautiful kids. Um, I feel like I've been a father since I've been young because I've always had to raise. Um, I love my brothers to death. I love my sister to death. Um, but I've always been the one that they kind of look to um, for guidance, um, for verification. Um, Being their brother has just been just the greatest joy to me because I've also got a chance to see them grow. Especially, the one that I'm proud of the most is just Justin, you know what I mean, serving our country. He's jumping out of planes now. He's a hell of a father. Darnell, hell of a father. And my sister is a great mom. And I feel like I like to say like I had something to do with who they are as individuals. I'm pretty sure like they probably would agree and say the same thing because of me. They are who they are. Um, but at times it was tough. Me and Justin fought a lot when we were younger. I didn't really fight with Darnell that much because we're so far apart in age. Um, Not so much with Jasmine either. Jasmine had to be strong because she had three brothers. So we spent a lot of time picking on her, fighting her. But you know what I mean? Without doing that, you know what I'm saying? She's not the strong woman that she is now. So, um, you know what I mean? Being their brother has been the greatest joy. It was a challenge at times because, you know what I mean? Our fathers were not really around. So, that left that on me to kind of like raise them and kind of like, just be the best influence and best role model I could be for them.
Yeah, I mean, that sounds like you to a T. Doing your best by whoever is in your family. Um, what do you do to take care of yourself? I feel like you talk just a lot about taking care of other people and doing things for other people and kind of showing up for people. What do you do to take care of yourself?
Oh man, I mean, well, you know this. I mean, I have the podcast. I started this in 2009. And it's been probably one of the best journeys that I've taken. Betting on myself, believing in myself. Um, you know what I mean? I also have you to thank just for your support and your understanding and your guidance. All this doesn't work without you and your support. Um, Also, shout out to you for this beautiful background behind me. She made this background. I'm also sitting in a chair that she also had my babies make for me. Um, but like all this doesn't work, you know what I mean, without me. But it also doesn't work without you. Also, you've been very, very, very supportive and very understanding. And you believe in me, and like all this doesn't happen without you. So I podcast. I smoke cigars. I'm a cigar smoker. I'm trying to cut back a little bit. That hasn't worked out so well, but I'm working on it. But I like to take my time. I call it daddy time, where I go out and I smoke my cigar. I'll have a drink. I'll listen to some music, and it's kind of like my 30 minutes to kind of like have to myself. I love being next to the water. I haven't had a chance to get out and do that, but I love being next to water because it's peaceful and therapeutic. Um, but and then I spend time with you. You know what I mean? We go to the movies, we go out to dinner, and we watch TV shows together, and Bridgerton, and um, Love Is Blind, and all that incredible stuff. So you know what I mean? I spend time with you and spend time with my family. So that's what I do in my to take care of myself.
Awesome. So we talked earlier about you moving to Boston, and your ex-wife and all these things, which is the reason that you're here, your ex-wife, and then because you have children here, so you were never able to leave. How was it getting through your divorce? What did you like? What did you do? How did it affect you? Like, what have you learned those moments?
I think going through my divorce, that had to be. I think that's the lowest I've ever been in my life. Um, You know what I mean? Nobody gets married to get a divorce. That's not where my mind was at. But I also understand that in that moment, I didn't know how to be a husband, and I was young. Um, growing up in a household where like you don't see a lot of marriages and a lot of that stuff, um, you just don't know. You don't know how you should go about being a husband or being a married man. And like, you know what I mean? Like I made my mistakes. She made her mistakes as well. Um, but I feel like when I was going through my divorce, it was very, very low. I was thankful to have a friend of mine. Shout out to Williams. And he had went through a divorce also, so he was able to kind of like coach me and help me through that time period. It was tough, you know what I mean. It's tough on the kids. It's tough on Angelica and Malcolm, more so Malcolm. Um, you know what I mean. I'm not seeing him every day. I'm not in the house every day. I also during that time of my life, I also was like in between jobs. I had lost my job. So like now I'm on unemployment. I'm looking for a job. I'm divorced. I'm up here by myself. So it was a very, very tough time period for me, where there was a lot of nights where I questioned if I could even do this. You know what I mean? I thought about moving. Um, and it just was tough for me. And like, I was at the bottom for a long, long time before I got up. You know what I mean? Before I got to where I'm at right now, I spent a lot of time at the bottom, moving around, moving, job, 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 job. That was hard for me, but God willing, I got through it. I didn't quit. You know what I'm saying? I think that's the biggest thing. I didn't quit. Um, and I did the best that I can do for myself because at the end of the day, I got two beautiful kids. You know what I'm saying? Now I got three beautiful kids. I can't quit. You know what I mean? Every time I think about quitting, I think about them. Um, you know what I mean? Their father's not a quitter. So, um, that's what kind of got me through it. And I'm also raising a young man also. So, I don't ever want him to be in a predicament where he feels like he can't get through something. I want him to be, look at, you know what? My dad went through this. My dad's strong and my dad gets through a lot of things. So, um, I just think my faith, and just believing, you know what I'm saying, and my mom and my family helping me as much as they can from a distance. And again, you know what I mean? Like, I talk about my friendship with Craig. Me and Craig have been best friends for 23 years. He also helped me get through this as well. You know what I mean? Being able to lean on him for support and being able to talk to him on the phone and for him to guide me through it. It also meant a lot. He also helped me. So, shout out to him as well.
Yeah, for sure. Um, other than your divorce, because I know that was like a big moment for you and like a big life changing. Like, oh boy, what's next? What else was a life changing moment for you?
Um, I so I'm gonna talk a little bit about the importance of like therapy, right? I know a lot of black men do not like to go and talk to somebody. Um, I'm here to tell you, go talk to somebody. You know what I mean? If you're feeling some type of way, if you need to get something off your chest, there's somebody that we can talk to. All right. We no longer have to walk alone and walk in fear. There's somebody that we can talk to about what we're going through. I'm a firm believer in therapy helps you with everything. I've been in therapy for years. I actually am in therapy right now. Not because I'm going through anything crazy, just to stay sharp and just so I can be the best father and the best husband that I can be. Um, I went on a trip, and this was when, me and you, we weren't together at the time. Um, I went on a trip for 2 weeks. I was in the middle of nowhere. I was in Maine. I went to a cabin with a whole bunch of other guys, black, white, Spanish, Asian, Mexican, you name it. They all were there. We spent 2 weeks in the woods, no phone, no TV, no nothing, just each other. Um, and what that did for me is it helped me realize that I needed to change who I was as a man. It also gave me some clarity in who I was. I grew up without a father. You know what I'm saying? I never met my father, never had that relationship. Um, so that was something that I was always wanting. You know what I mean? Somebody to kind of like, let me know it's going to be all right. Teach me how to be a man. Teach me what's right for wrong. My mom taught me all that stuff. You know what I mean? I didn't have, you know what I'm saying? I had men in my life at some point, but, um, you know what I mean? They weren't there consistently. You know what I'm saying? Um, but I just think that trip in Maine, those 2 weeks that I spent with all these other guys, I was going through addiction, sex addictions, drug addiction, all type of addictions. It helped me learn a lot about myself, and it helped me say to myself, you know what, you've got to change. And ever since that trip that I took, I changed. My life changed around. I'm a totally different man than what I was 2 years ago. My life has come full circle. Um, I don't get to this point in my life without that trip in Maine. So, shout out to all the men that went on that Maine trip, and shout out to Steve, because Steve ran he ran the retreat. Shout out to Steve as well. You know what I mean? He taps into my podcast, so I know he's going to see this. But I just want to say thank you to him for inviting me on that, because it really, really changed my life.
I would also
Therapy is good, fellas.
thank you to Steve because he changed a man who wasn't ready for anything that life was here that I was here to offer him into the man that I am now marrying, which I appreciate the work that Abe has put in to get to this point, and I can see it every day how much he is working on himself and for us, for me, for our children, like, which I think is like pretty amazing. And I'm truly grateful for it, for sure. You were a father of two, and now you are a father of three, because he is a wonderful dad to my daughter as well. And I know fatherhood is huge for him. So tell me more about being a dad and what's that's like for you. You mentioned before, like you didn't have a dad, and kind of like how you navigate that and who you want to be, and who you want to be for your kids.
Um, my life has changed 3 times. So, um, August 8th, 2013, at 7:52 a.m., that's the first time my life changed. Um, Malcolm was born. Um, didn't know what the hell I was going to do. Didn't know how to be a father. But here I am now looking at this little life that I have to be responsible for the rest of my life. Um, Malcolm helped me grow. Um, he helped me become a man. I already knew that as a father, I'm never going to leave him. I was never going to leave him. I remember being in the hospital and him just laying on my chest, and me just thinking in the middle of the night, like, what the hell are you going to do? Um, Bringing him home and crying, because I'm like, I don't know anything about this. But I've done the best that I could do for him. Um, that's the first time my life changed. The second time my life changed was May 31st, 2018. That's when my daughter was born, Angelica May. Now I have a daughter now, right? And during that time, I'm going through it. Mind you, I'm going through my divorce. We're separated. We're not living in the same house. So that was very, very tricky to navigate and to kind of get through. So I that was tough to go through that. But then, that's another gift that I have. And she also helped me grow, helped me become the man I am today. And now, understand women a little bit better, because now you have a little girl that you're responsible for. All right. So those are, 2 moments. And then the third time my life changed, Cam was born March 20th, 2018. I wasn't there when she was born, but she just makes all of our lives just a joy. Um, she's different than her brothers and sisters. She's very outgoing. She speaks up for everything. She is a she wants to do everything that's right. She's competitive as hell, um, and I just love her so much. And all three of them have just brought so much joy, so much happiness to my life. Um, they make being a dad to them the greatest joy. It's always something with those three. It's never a dull moment. You know what I mean? Cam and Malcolm fight a lot because they're competitive. Angelica wants nothing to do with it. You guys can fight, whatever. I'm going to be over here doing this. Um, the beautiful thing is, both of them are 5. Malcolm is 10. No, 9. Sorry. They'll be 10 soon. But the beautiful thing is, we get to watch them all grow up to be the best version of themselves. So those are 3 times that my life has changed. I didn't have a father, so being a father was like very, very important to me. Um, and yeah, you know, I like to say that I do the best job that I can do with all 3 of them.
For sure. So we talked about your divorce and kind of where that took you, and you talked about this retreat and all these things that have all kind of brought you here. And we are to get married December 9th, 2023. What makes things different? What makes you ready this time? What makes kind of this the moment for you, and kind of how have you got there, or what have you done for yourself to get to the moment where you're ready to marry someone again?
Um, well, I think, and you know this, I think you're my soulmate. Not think, I know that you're my soulmate. Um, you're a unicorn, and I say that because there's nobody like you. Um, I've never met a woman like you. You make it easy for somebody to want to sit down and say, you know what, I want to spend the rest of my life with you. And that's what I did. You know what I mean? I proposed to you in front of family and friends, and said, you know what, this is a woman that I want to spend the rest of my life with. Um, the reason why I'm able to come full circle and the reason why I'm here is because of you. None of this happens without you. And the support, the understanding, the loyalty. Um, I never question anything about you. Um, or I never think that, you know what I mean? I never think the worst. Because you make, you bring me a lot of peace and you bring me a lot of happiness. I think that this time around, I'm going to be a much better husband. I think I'm ready to be a husband now. I know what it takes to be a husband. Um, and I'm ready to be a husband now. I'm 39 years old. Um, and I've been through so much. We've been through so much together. Um, you know what I'm saying? And, you've been with me at my lowest. You know what I'm saying? Like, sleeping on the air mattress and, you know what I mean? Me bouncing from job to job, not having a job and having to sleep on the couch and just having to sleep on your couch because I didn't have anywhere to go. So, you've been with me at my lowest point. So, um, I'm ready now because I just know that the woman that I'm going to be staring across, um, is just as ready as I am. And you love me the way that I love you. So, and that all works out for us.
Yes, that I do. What is your proudest moment?
Proudest moment. I got a few. Having kids is number one. Starting this podcast and just being consistent with it. Um, and me and you getting married. You know what I mean? Like those are 3 big things for me. I didn't think I was gonna get married again. Um,
Yes, that I
you know
know.
what I mean? Having kids has been a blessing. And this podcast it's been a blessing for me. You know what I mean? 3 things that I'm really proud of.
Yeah, I am proud of you for a lot of those things as well. Um,
Thank you.
a life lesson, like a big life lesson that you learned. I know you could probably tell us about a lot, but what is like one that really have stuck with you? Um, like throughout life, throughout it could be recent, could be old, but like what's a really big life lesson that you learned?
Um, just don't, as cliche as it's gonna sound, um, just don't quit. Um, you have a lot of people depending on you. Um, I'm a teacher. I'm a father. I'm a husband. I'm a friend. I'm a brother. Um, I have a lot of people looking at me. Um, I think that when God said, you know what, I'm gonna put Abram here. I think He said, you know what I'm saying, I want you to inspire and help others. That's what I try to do every day. You know what I mean? I try to inspire and I try to help others. Um, you know what I mean? Like Nipsey Hussle said, rest in peace to Nipsey Hussle. the greatest human act is to inspire. You know what I mean? We're all here to inspire people and help people. And I feel like that's what I was put here to do. Is just don't quit, inspire people, and just try to do good by people. Teach people how to be good people. I tell my students that all the time. I tell, my friends that all the time. Just be a good person. Don't quit on yourself. Strive for everything that you want. Um, and, so I would say that. I would say, like, don't quit.
For sure. You are not a quitter. That is one thing I do know. Because you've been through it and
Yeah.
still are here fighting for everything every day.
Yeah.
What is your favorite quote?
My favorite quote. I would have to say, dang, I got many. I have a lot. I'm going to go with two. Malcolm X.
Can never be one. Just so everybody knows, it can never be one. Like,
I'm going to go with two. Hold on. I got two. Malcolm X. A man that does not stand for something will fall for anything. I believe that. If you're a man or a woman, stand on something. Um, Believe in something. You know what I mean? Build a foundation off of something. If you do not build a foundation and you do not stand for something, you're going to be fooled by everybody. But if you have a foundation and you're building something, you can't be fooled by anybody. So that would be my first one. My second one would be, and this is from Lauren London. This is a Nipsey Hussle thing. Um, the game is going to test you. All right. Don't fold and stay 10 toes down. All right. Don't fold. You know what I mean? You're going to get everything thrown at you. You got to be able to take that and continue to strive and continue to be the best version of yourself. That is very, very important. And he's right. You know what I'm saying? You got to think about it. Like, I've had everything thrown at me, but I've taken it and I've continued to grow. So the game is going to test you. Don't fold. And a man that doesn't stand for something and fall for anything would be my two quotes.
awesome. When did you fall in love with hip hop?
When did I fall in love with hip hop?
Just
Middle
so
school.
everybody knows, that is my question that I recommended that he ask on his podcast. Just so everybody knows, because he has
Um,
seen that a lot. So that was my question.
I would say middle school. Um, you know what I mean? And that's what when I think about my friendship and I think about, me and Craig being best friends for so long, that's what kind of brought us together was basketball and hip hop. Um, we were good at basketball and we loved music. Me and Craig probably had every Source magazine, every XXL magazine. These are hip hop magazines. Every Vibe magazine that you can think of. Um, Me and Craig would be in grocery stores buying magazines. Me and Craig would be at Best Buy when albums came out. I learned a lot about music, old school music, from Craig. Um, I fell in love with hip hop in middle school. Um, I would say 1997, right? And this is when I became a Jay-Z fan. If you know me, I love me some Jay-Z. Um, the first CD that I bought with my own money from my job was In My Lifetime by Jay-Z. That was in 1997. Mind you, in 1997, Life After Death came out, Master P. Ghetto D came out, Wu-Tang Forever came out. I bypassed all those albums to buy In My Lifetime. That wasn't really a highly recommended album, but I bought it anyway, and I'm glad that I bought it because I've been a Jay-Z fan since 1997, not dating myself or anything like that. But I've been a fan since 97. You know what I'm saying? And I'm still a fan now. So I fell in love with hip hop in middle school. I want to say 97 in middle school and stuff.
Yeah, I won't tell you how old I was.
Yeah, please don't.
Top 10 rappers. We need your
Top
top
10.
10 because everybody always wants to know everybody's top 10, even though I know Abrams changes all the time.
Jay-Z, that will never change. Jay-Z's always going to be number one. Number two, I would have to say Nas. Um, Number three, I would have to say Ransom. Um, 4, I would have to say the DOC. No one can do it better. If you don't know anything about the DOC, he's got a movie coming out soon. I believe it's coming out. It might be already be out. But make sure you tap into that because that's a great story. Shout out to the DOC also. Um, I would say what is that? That was 3, right?
Yep.
I'll
4.
say,
DLC is
out.
number 4.
Yeah, I would say Fife Dog from Tribe Called Quest. I love me some Tribe Called Quest. My mother-in-law loves Tribe Called Quest as well. Um, that's our jam. Um, so I would say Fife Dog. Um, I'm gonna put Drake. I love me some Drake. Um, besides Jay-Z, if I had to think of a more influential, if I had to put somebody above him, right there with him, Drake would be that. Drake would be the only rapper that I would put next to Jay-Z. Um, because I just think he has that much of an impact. I think that's the only person that can probably touch Jay-Z if we're talking about like rapping wise. So Drake, um, Benny the Butcher. I love me some Benny the Butcher. Um, I'm gonna put a female on there too. I love Queen Latifah. Queen Latifah is my favorite female rap artist of all time. I love me some Queen Latifah. Um, when I think about like women, you know what I mean, rapping and not having to expose their body and twerk and do all this stuff, she's a perfect definition of somebody who came out fully clothed and did her thing. You know what I'm saying? Made it good for women to be covered up and still get their point across. Shout out to Queen Latifah. Um, and I think my last one would have to be, I have to say Big Daddy Kane. Big Daddy Kane and then Rakim. I know that's like not my time, but um, I would have to say them. Notice I didn't say Biggie and Tupac. I know y'all gonna kill me for that. I never put Biggie and Tupac on my top 10. I love Biggie. I love Tupac, but I feel like there's so many other MCs that are just as good as them.
Definitely, they were in my top 10. So you can be mad at Abe, but you don't have to be mad at me. But I do rate Tupac higher than Biggie just in my listening adventures, and Drake is my number 1. So I can tell you
Yeah.
how old I am in comparison to Abe. um, 10 people you would invite to dinner, dead or alive.
Um,
This is probably my favorite question that you ask. I think it's such a cool question. It's such a, like, it really gets people thinking about like where, like what is important to them or who means stuff to them.
um, you would be what? You will be my number one. Um,
I get to come to dinner. Yes.
um, I love when we spend time together. Any time that I can spend with you is just the best. We have such a good time together, so you will be number one. Even though he slapped Chris Rock, I would have to say Will Smith. Um, I think Will Smith is a hell of an actor. I think he is a good man, even though he did that. I don't think that takes away from his career and who he is. Um, Jay-Z, just because I would love to pick his brain about just being a billionaire and just all the things that he's done. Um, LeBron James, everybody knows how much I love LeBron. LeBron would be at that dinner. Um, my kids, you know what I mean? Again, they bring me joy and happiness. I would love to have them there, even though they probably want to sit still. But um,
No,
just
not
having them in the room, just it's just a love when they're around. They're good kids though, so they actually probably would sit still and behave themselves. Um, Princess Diana, just because I'm infatuated with Princess Diana. Fun fact: I did a research paper on Princess Diana when I was in 12th grade. Learned everything about her, movies, documentaries. I just think she's a very interesting woman. And I would love to talk to her about what actually happened in that tunnel when she died. Um, my mom, um, my grandmother, um, our family, Nana, Graham,
This is way
Dad.
more than 10 people.
Huh?
This is
It
way
will
more
be.
than 10 people.
It will be more than
Like
10 people, but
you just rented out the whole restaurant.
I
Like,
want I want my family there because I in proposing to you and being and getting married to you, I also inherited a very great and incredible family. And I love them so much because they love me so much and they mean so much to me. So I definitely want all of them there because they're just all beautiful people, and it has to be a funny time because they all have different personalities. So you mix them with my family, we have a huge thing. Um, and I think the last person would be, I have to say, Nipsey Hussle. You know what I mean? I love me some Nipsey Hussle. I had to get Nip there just because for everybody that don't know, if you've never read his book, go read his book. I haven't finished it yet. I'm in the mix of finishing it, but very, very good book. You definitely want to, tap into that and read that. So, um, those are the people that I would have at dinner.
for sure. Um, and my last question for you is, what is your legacy? How do you want people to remember you? What mark do you want to leave on the world, our kids, our family? Kind of what is what's your stamp of approval on the world here?
That's a good question. Um, I think my legacy, I just want people to look at me and say, you know what? Abram was consistent. He never quit, and he tried to be the best version of himself every day. Um, and he inspired people along the way. If I can leave this earth and I've inspired at least two people, I feel like I've done my job. Um, you know what I mean? I just think that's why I was put here. Um, if I can leave here and my kids say, you know what, my dad did everything he could do for us, um, never cheated us, never lied to us, um, gave us the best advice, I could rest easy, knowing that I did everything that I can do for them. Um, and I want to, and I've said this many times already. I just want to be a great husband to you. I want you to be able to say, you know what, my husband was just a great man. You know what I mean? He loved me to death. He took care of me. Um, he loved me unconditionally, and he brought me so much joy and so much happiness. I want you to be able to have that if something ever happened to me, because those things mean a lot to me. So that's what I would want my legacy to be when it's all said and done.
Awesome. Well, thanks so much for sharing. I'm happy that you asked me to do this. I think it was really sweet, and I think it's important for people to get to know you the same way. You do a great job of inviting people in and kind of letting them share the best parts of themselves. I feel like it's important for people to get the same thing from you. So thank you for inviting me to do this because I really appreciate it.
No problem at all. Thank you for doing it for me. I love you very much. I appreciate you very much, and just thank you for everything that you do for me. Thank you for all the support and everything that you do because a lot of this, it is me, but you do so many things for me behind the scenes, and I just want people to understand that, you've just been a blessing to me, and I love you very much.
I love you too.
All right.